Welcome to the instruction video for the eValue Classroom tool. Open your browser and go to the eValue website by following the link www.atlasofeuropeanvalues.eu. If you use a search engine to go to the website, it's best to use the following search term, Atlas of European Values. If desired, you can always change the language to your own language. Click on Language in the right corner of the page and select the desired language. Then go to the tool we're going to talk about in this video, the Classroom tool. You can get into the tool in two ways, either by clicking on Classroom from the top menu or by clicking on the Classroom block in the middle of the screen. In the Classroom tool, you will be presented with four options. By clicking Join, students can register with a nickname and a code to answer questions from the European Value Study themselves. It's important here to always inform the students that you, as a teacher, cannot see their answers and results. The questionnaire results are therefore completely anonymous. The next button is the View button. Here, you, as a teacher, can, by means of a teacher's code, view the results of your whole class. Next to View, you have the Create option. We will work on this later to draw up an assignment and thus generate both a teacher's code and a student's code. The last button is the Explore button. Here you can directly view the different results of the European Value Study. First, let's take a look at the Explore button. This button brings you to an interactive graph where you can search both by country and by value. At the top right, you can change the dimensions you want to explore. Now everything is set, so that you can see the results of all countries. If you only want to view the results of one or a few countries, you can either select countries on the right by clicking on the country, or click at the top of All and also select countries. Here you can see, for example, that I have only selected the results for Belgium, the Netherlands and France. At the top, you can also adjust the value dimensions, or you can view the results per response group. In addition to rummaging through the different results together, you can also put your students to work independently to compare their results with the results of all Europeans. To do this, you return to the main page and this time you choose the button Create. By clicking on Create, you can choose your own value dimensions. For this example, we have chosen to put Perceived Ethnic Threat on the X-axis and Social Trust on the Y-axis. Once the values are chosen, press Submit. When you have chosen Submit, you will receive a student code with which your students can get started. With the button on the top right, Show Teacher's Code, you can also generate a code for yourself so that you can always return to the results afterwards. When you choose Close Classroom, the students can no longer give answers. If you click on Exit Classroom, you close the session. With your teacher's code, you can then return to your assignment afterwards and continue working on it later. We return to the main page, where the students can enter a nickname and a code via the Join button. As indicated earlier, it's important for them to note that the results are anonymous. If you click on the button Show Teacher's Code, you will get your specific teacher's code with which you can view the results of your assignment. It's important to write down both the teacher's code and the student's code, because these disappear from the moment you close your class. When the students are registered, they are presented with the same questionnaire as the participants of the European Value Study. Please note, their answers are for learning purposes only and are not used within the study. When all the students' results have been entered, you as a teacher can continue to work with them. Once again, we return to the main menu, but this time we choose the View button. If we enter our teacher's code here and then click on Submit, we arrive at the results of the class. When students do the same thing via their student code, they and only they see their own results appear in green. In our example, we had 14 students answer the questionnaire. If we then click on Show Classroom Results, we end up with a graph with the results of the class. In the results of the students, you can see that each student is represented as an anonymous light blue ball. The dark blue ball represents the class average. Here too you can play with the graph. When you click on the dark blue ball at the top right, the average disappears. If you click on students, the results of the students will disappear. At the top, you can also either choose to compare the results of the class with results in other countries, or you could compare the results of one class with the answers of students in another class. From the top right, you can select countries. On the top of the page, you can also select the results of different participant groups. Finally, you can also choose to compare different classes with each other. To do this, you should enter the student code of the other class at the top and click on Submit. By clicking on the colored dots, you can delete both the results of individual students, light blue, and the class average, dark blue, and place them back on the map if necessary. Within this example, we also ask another class to take the same test, and if you compare the two results with one another, you get the results of the new class in a different color. In this case, the second class can be recognized by the red dots. If desired, you can click on the colored dots on the right side and fill in the names, so that it becomes visually cleaner for your students. You can also add data from different countries to compare it with the data from your own classes. Here too you can play with the number of countries and the different groups with which you want to compare your data. And just like with a single class, you can make the results of both individual students and the class average disappear by clicking on them. There are still two important buttons left that we haven't really discussed yet. When students have completed the assignment and want to leave the program, they choose Exit Classroom. If you as a teacher want to leave the program, it's best to choose Close Classroom. You can then always open it afterwards with your teacher's code. Suppose you like to open both the teacher's version and the student's version while teaching or preparing your assignment, then the easiest way to do this is to open them either on different computers or via different browsers. This was our instructional video for the Classroom tool. We wish you a lot of success and fun with implementing our Evalue Classroom tool with your classes.